What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 10-Minute Poker Tips. Have a special guest today. He actually kind of really needs no introduction, but we have Joey Ingram. He is poker player. He is a GTO Wizard Pro. He is the host of Poker Life Show, content creator, advisor, investor, all the things. Unbelievable. This guy seems like he takes every single opportunity that comes his way, which is a really, really good life skill. But I'm honored to have you on, man.
Definitely not. Definitely not. No, I turned down 99% of it. But nice to meet you. I've been enjoying your content, enjoying your Twitter. You seem to bring a more corporate mindset to poker, and also you seem to be crushing it. So, and you also are in the lab working hard. So I'm like, it makes sense that you're taking your corporate world and your ability to study and grind with all the new tools, and then you're taking your ability to crush poker and then start your show, everything like that. So
Thanks, man. Yeah, we'll see how long I can keep crushing poker for, but it is nice to be able to intersect a passion, which is, poker with maybe some life skills, which is great. Okay, so I think what I wanted to pick your brain about a little bit today is poker growth. And I know you talked a lot about this in the past before, but I think, catching up to all the things that are happening, World Series of Poker, maybe, we're seeing a little bit of that post-COVID growth flatline a little bit, right? And are we doing all the things that we can to really drive more players and actually maybe even more spectators to the game? So, first let me ask you, how intimidating do you think poker is in general for newcomers, whether it's cash games or tournaments?
how intimidating? Yeah, I mean, that's probably situationally dependent, but
Yeah.
a lot of people, I'm sure, it's super intimidating just because you got to gamble with your own money, you got to be around random people, you got to sit at a table. So I think, I've heard from a lot of people, it's just go in the room, it's very unusual and strange, and they don't know what to do. So I'm mainly more on the experienced player side in terms of like how I empathize, and I still try to put myself in the newbie shoes. But that's something I hear all the time from people around Vegas is that they just feel they're just a little intimidated, and they don't really. It's a certain aura, a certain kind of energy, very serious, very intense.
Come from the corporate world, I kind of look at all of these, call them like an acquisition funnel, where you have the widest part of the funnel on the top and probably the biggest constraint to new players, because that's going to be the biggest pool that we have, like people that we did, we're talking about millions of people out there who could play poker that aren't playing poker, right? That very first line of I sit down at a table and I don't understand all these crazy rules, and why did you just call that a string bet? I don't understand, right? Stuff that we just take for granted now, right? There's so many little things about it. So, I do appreciate like Matt Savage and TDA trying to do things to make things better for new players coming in, but I still think from a poker player perspective, especially experienced players, we have to do everything we can to like help newcomers. You see a newbie, just kind of help them out, right, a little bit, explain them the rules, maybe give them a pass here and there about things that they're doing wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty normal for like when I play live poker. I'm not rules enforcing, and,
Right.
and I'm also not trying to be professional right now from making money at poker. So
Yeah.
when I was, I was probably the last thing I cared about. Sometimes I'm gonna go here, play poker, show up for the 800th day in a row, and I don't really care about anything around that. So I get a lot of different sides of it too. But yeah, I think some players like you take that mindset where they want to, they look at they're helping to get people in poker, they're marketing for poker, they're an ambassador for poker, so they want to put more care into that and spread the message and try to advocate for that, which I think you're trying to do. So yeah, I would agree. I mean, a lot of people, I always look at like a big ass flywheel where, I'm like right now, my investment strategy in poker is trying to invest in working with the Venetian. So they started a new stream. So they asked me to be ambassador and host my events there and try to bring my games there and bring in content creators there. So I was like, okay, this is probably something that really needs to succeed. So I started working with them, and then I'm always looking for things like movies, or I'm looking for things like, Celebrity Poker Tour. I consulted with them because they're bringing in a whole new outside layer of the top of funnel marketing for poker players and getting all these different kind of players on there. I think software tools, platforms people can play, anything that kind of spread poker out to different demographics is kind of stuff I look to invest in now. And yeah, it's never ending, right? Because it could always get bigger. You can always think it should be more, it should matter more. I'm like, it should be on ESPN. Like, how the hell is there a sport where there's 3 teams playing soccer at once on ESPN, but we don't got a sick ass poker game focused on like distribution methods, getting shows on Netflix, getting shows on Apple, getting shows on ESPN, working with the biggest investors. So that's kind of how I think about my personal impact on the ecosystem these days versus before I did a show and I posted on social media. My strategy was a lot different. Nowadays, it's a little bit kind of unveiling a little bit of it right now, but it's a more of a long-term thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point because we have to do everything we can to make poker easier to play, attract celebrities, like you're saying, right? Just like run more games. I think all the stuff that we're trying to do with influencers and streamers is fantastic as well, right? But we're still talking about this, like, I want to say it's like a smaller base of people who will actually play poker. But then in order to get in ESPN, we actually need spectators, right? Just like any other sport has spectators, you have millions of more fans than you do of actual like basketball players or football players or baseball players. So spectators seems to be, kind of the thing that we lost a little bit after ESPN. How do you feel about our content right now on Poker Go? We're talking about, a 6 hour like tournament stream, right? Are we actually broadcasting content that you think is attractive to spectators?
Probably depends who you are too. So
Yeah.
I think if you're a lot of people are into that, a lot of people do like that. But obviously, when you think about there's billions of people that watch content, you can always have, right now, I mean, you need so many different content ideas, so many different kind of presentations. Is Poker Go the right way to do it?
Yeah.
Is Hustler the right way to do it? Celebrity Poker Tour, they're experimenting with having more of a live audience. You got things like Triton, which don't have much of an audience. You got WSOP, which does have a bigger audience. Poker Stars tries to have their audiences.
Right.
I mean, everyone's going to have their own opinion. Everyone wants to be the main event. Everyone wants to be this big celebrated spectator sport, or not maybe not everybody wants to be that, but I can see where you're coming from. You're saying you want an audience, you want fans, you want hype, you want excitement, you want the fans in the building, which is kind of how I grew up watching poker in WSOP, where like the place looked lit. And it was popping, and everyone was like so excited. They were cheering. I was like, dude, this is like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? This is like why I started playing poker every single day on 5 and 10 cents, because I'm like, that's my dream, to be the high stakes poker player, to be, on ESPN, to have the big show, to be whatever, right? That was what I was obsessed with when I was a kid. So, kind of funny to think about it, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, I would think spectators would be great, but a lot of people have gone away from that, and it's not very spectator sport. Like I remember last year, you show up for WSOP, they'd be like, "Oh, you can't drink," or I think it was like, I think this was a rule, like, you can't drink, and you didn't know what was happening.
Right.
I'm like, I'm watching, but I can't know what the hell's going on the screen. Like they'll put the board up and no one tell you anything.
Right.
So, hey, listen, not my approach, but I can complain about everything. So, these guys got their strategy. They've got to figure it out. Is it good? Is it bad? I mean,
I think this is a mindset thing with the industry though, right? Because like from an operator perspective, I get why you don't want people drinking and screaming in the stands during a WSOP main event for tens of millions of dollars at stake, right? Because people are trying to make really hard decisions. But then also on the other side of it, we have to think about the growth aspect of things as well, right? It's not always just like one way or the other. And I do think we've kind of moved away from that. And spectators are probably also not the people that are going to sit through a 6 hour poker stream. So I think we have to think a little bit differently. Not like we're reinventing the wheel. Maybe like diversity of thought, or trying to think about things from different angles and not just doing or thinking what everybody else is doing. I do think that right now we're maybe following convention a little bit too much. Maybe these evenings poker streamers are just like, hey, we're listening to poker players and what they want, so let's just put on the content, because they'll just sit there and watch a 6 hour poker stream and pay us a sub on Poker Go. But what about the spectators out there, right? Those are the ones that'll get us sponsored tournaments, and that's why Jack Sling's Beef Jerky will come back, right, and be a sponsor for us.
I mean, I guess that's kind of what I think about all the time. That's why it's one of the reasons I took this partnership with the Venetian, is because I get picked to do these streams, or be in charge of the stream, or be in charge of the house, or be in charge of, however you want to think about organizing these things. I get pitched this a lot, and I just kind of been staying away from that for the past couple of years, because I've just been doing other things, and kind of burnt out on poker for a while, just because I felt like I got to the top of what I was trying to get to with my show, and the other shows around me in poker weren't really keeping up with what was exciting me, which was doing big events, basically doing the biggest events, getting all the fans hyped, getting people excited. And I think a lot of people that make poker content, I mean, they don't like the players, they don't like the fans, they don't want to be there, they don't like what they do. So when people like that are in charge, it's a cultural thing, and it's sort of energetic thing, and it's not even necessarily intentional sometimes, or not even necessarily malicious by the people. They think they're doing a good job. And that's the part that ends up happening in poker a lot.
Right.
Is oftentimes you have someone in a job who, again, like I just said, doesn't like the players, doesn't like their job, doesn't want to make everything cool, and they don't think it's cool, and they don't like poker. It's a big common issue over 15 years in poker. I was like that. Like I was depressed, I was miserable, I was living in Vegas, and I was like, damn, what the fuck am I even doing this? And that's what happens to poker. It's very toxic, it's very negative, hard to win, and you don't really make a lot of money. And when you try to work with a company as a sponsor, there's not many real opportunities because of the legality stuff. You know, when I look around here in Vegas, if I want to work with a big company, who am I going to work with? I got to work with the WSOP. I got to work with World Poker Tour. I got to work with one of the casinos. And that's pretty much it. There's really very limited player pool for me to work with for what I'm trying to do. Same for anyone, right? So then how are you going to build your business and keep growing and keep going up? It's like very hard to be able to do that unless you have training, products, services in that department, high ticket prices, coaching, membership group. You have some sort of deal with the casino. You're making some sort of revenue share based off of bringing your players in. You know, there's not this like natural growth for a business to take where they can actually start to make real money. And that's why most people just don't do this shit unless they've got a multi-ownership strategy, which we do see some players, you know, they're using more of that now. So, you know, I don't know, there's a lot of things, right? Whether you call it issue or problem or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, maybe that address some of your ideas.
No, I mean, that's absolutely right. But I do think it's a chicken and an egg problem where right now all these restrictions that you see and all these issues that you see are likely just because poker itself is not very attractive for people to get into business with, right? And the reason for that is because, you know, imagine football with very few spectators or baseball with very few spectators, like they would be nothing, right? You wouldn't have multi-million dollar athletes. That would never happen. You would also wouldn't have all these sponsors. So I think that in order for poker to grow, we really do need to start trying to figure out how to make this a spectator sport again, right? Maybe no limit hold'em isn't, you know, let's think completely out of the box. Maybe no limit hold'em isn't the right thing because it is boring as fuck to watch, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like the way you think about these ideas because you're kind of, that's why I say you're one of the few people who I saw on Twitter who actually, you know, had a clue how to think about this differently. And exactly, right? That's what I always say. It's like monkey see, monkey do. What'd that guy do? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? Super normal in investing, right? I'm investing in a lot of companies. I'm talking to founders all the time. In poker, a common strategy is what has this last 10 people done? And then I'm going to do that same thing again. And the meta for events has sort of evolved one way where a lot of people will just end up following that strategy and they make a lot of their events end up being not that important or matter much where they wouldn't even have a reason for spectators to get there. And, you know, so that's sort of been the presentation strategy is to, I guess, avoid the spectators or avoid the fans. But I mean, that's what I'm working on the Venetian. That's what we're got some ideas in the fire right now for some type of maybe conference, some type of event in the Sphere, some type of big ballroom event where there would be more of I mean, this is basically why the things you're saying are things I've thought for years. So now what I realize is you either got to keep complaining all the time on social media or you got to shut the fuck up and you got to try to go do some work. Yeah. So my strategy this time around, I was complaining. If you go back on my YouTube or Twitter, I always said, okay, this, that. I had ideas, you know, critical some ways, positive some ways. Nowadays, I'm not really sharing much of my opinions. I'm kind of just head down, studying, grinding, trying to find people who want to come to the casino, who want to make social media content, who got ideas I can invest in, however, you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm trying my way to make an impact on all this, support the creators, support the investors, network to expand the reach of all these things and really bring in different people. And I think we are doing that. We just really need the venues. We need the participation. You know, it's all growing. It's all coming. I mean, I see a lot of bullish signals right now, but
yeah, I mean, you know, when you just repeat yourself over and over and it just falls on deaf ears, after a little while, you just kind of give up or you get a little bit burned out. No one's listening to you. But now actually it feels like you are in a position to actually drive some change and you can start that from the Venetian. So I'm super excited to have you there, man. We do need people like you and I, right, who think about these things a very specific way to grow the game. But now it actually looks like you know, somebody's giving you the steering wheel a little bit. So I hope to see great things from you, man.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's very new for me working with I know a Vegas casino. It's different. Definitely it's different. So I'm trying to learn how it works. It's more of a corporate thing. It's less of a, you know, so you got to figure out teamwork and working with other people. And, you know, there's a certain hierarchy with the Venetian, obviously one of the go-to casinos of all time. With new owners, rebranding. This is high stakes games. I mean, this is high stakes as it might get, you know, when you think about the Vegas content world, which I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying trying to learn. I'm enjoying trying to figure out, okay, how do we make a 50,000 person event here? Like, how do we do something that's never been done before for poker? Is basically my number one thing I always talk about with them. And, you know, they probably hear it from me, like, all right, we get it, you know, Poppy, we get it. I'm always texting the exec, you know, shout out to those guys and just giving them ideas like, hey, we gotta do this, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. We gotta, like, you know, so I'm trying. I think a lot of people are, you know, it might not seem like it on social media, but I think there's a change in the guard right now. There's new players getting involved. Good. There's new blood. There's new investors. WPT's kind of pushed in a little bit. and there's more competition with some of the people. So
That's amazing. So Joey, thank you so much for coming on, man. Like this, just being able to pick your brain about these things. Obviously, you know so much. You've been in the game for so long, but not just as a player, but just in every single corner of things. You know, other than the Venetian stream, what else is kind of going on for you? What other projects you have going on right now?
projects, I guess, like poker wise, I'm pretty much playing poker every day.
Nice.
I've been working with my coaches every day now. It seems like for over a year now, and I'm playing a few 100,000 hands.
Wow.
Getting primed up, doing a lot of research. I'm doing a lot of writing, a lot of compiling my thoughts together, especially around poker study, but just in other stuff too. Poker, I'm still locked in on that. I got my shows. I'm always thinking about my content for my channel and my shows, and I've got a bunch of stuff recorded. I'm just kind of like not putting out as much. So, but yeah, I'm focused on that. Focused on the Venetian partnership, bringing people in there, and then just focused on building up my research institute, publishing my research. It's a little bit outside of poker, and yeah, I'm just grinding a few different things right now, seeing what I like. I'm just we got one chance at this, right? I'm getting a little older now. Like, who knows how long we'll have these opportunities for? So my thought process is like, let's try to maximize it. The humanoids are coming. Elon's talking about the Tesla humanoid, billions of them. I'm like, whoa, that doesn't sound like things are gonna be a little different. So let me get to work now and make this. Try to make some dreams happen. So
yeah, you're an inspiration, man. The way that you just grind, and honestly, I know that you're turning down opportunities, but the ones that you do pick seem to be good ones. I think you're making good choices in life, and really, I think you inspire a lot of people in poker. Be motivated and try real hard at whatever they're doing.
But yeah, I'm trying. It's not always been that way. So that's my goal. It's my goal is just kind of work hard, try to do well, what other people enjoy. Eventually, I'll share more about what I've been doing with people. I haven't really talked much about what I've been doing behind the scenes, stuff like that. I've just kind of been very low key with it. So appreciate having me on. It's been fun. I'm just got woken up now. I'm like, okay, now I'm like, what are we talking about? Okay, no.
Well, you did really good for somebody who just woke up. So good job, man. So yeah, I'll be looking out for all the stuff that you have going on in Venetian. I'll be looking at all your content, everything that's happening on Twitter and everywhere else.
Cool. Yeah, sounds great, Derek. Appreciate you, and I'll be keeping up with your journey, your show, and let me know. Let me know if you need anything, and yeah,
I will.
Let me know when you're getting investors. Let me know.
I will. Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you.